I've been seeing a bunch of people online that have been kind of equating this Resident Evil leak with Leon showing up on PlayStation, that automatically means that everything that Dusk has said is 100% correct. That is not the case. Dusk recently backpedaled on one of his major leaks, which, by the way, if you guys didn't know, a couple months ago, Dusk basically made a compilation of all of his Resident Evil 9 leaks, and you can bet that once Resident Evil 9 comes out, I'm going to be looking at every single leak and basically seeing how much did he get right. And so far, he's gotten a bunch of stuff wrong. Like, there's nothing on this list that is 100% confirmed, because there's certain people that have been kind of just taking part of his leak. And we're going to look at his leak right now, by the way, just so I don't get people that misunderstand. So this is the compilation of what he said. This was back on June 2nd, right? This is the compilation of everything he said about Resident Evil 9. Now, the part of this thing, by the way, this is on Reddit. It's also on his Twitter page. This is not me making, right? This has his seal of approval. This is everything that he's personally said. He essentially said that Leon is still the main character of Resident Evil 9. A lot of people have kind of cherry-picked this, have only taken 50% of his leak, and basically said, oh yeah, Dusk said that Leon was going to be in Resident Evil 9. That is not what Dusk said. Right? Dusk specifically said that Leon is the main character of Resident Evil 9. And worth noting that this is incorrect, right? We know this for a fact. We know that the director of Resident Evil already said that Grace is the main character. Now, it's interesting because people that, defend Dusk or think that I'm a hater, which, by the way, as I've stated several times on this channel, I do not hate Dusk. I've only stated literal facts, right? That's the only thing I've done on this channel, is I've basically looked at all the stuff that he's gotten incredibly incorrect, right? I've looked at the stuff that he's gotten right. The only thing that I can see that Dusk has gotten right when it comes to leaks is when it's like 2 weeks before a gaming event, he kind of makes an educated guess, or he basically just says that this is what's going to happen. He obviously has sources at gaming events. That's the only time where I can see that Dusk has gotten stuff right. But when it comes to games, no. When it comes to Resident Evil, no. There's more bad stuff that he said that's been incorrect. But anyways, we're going to look at that. I've covered it on the channel, but we're going to be looking at that just for any people that are just confused. Another thing too that he's gone incredibly incorrect here is that he also said that Resident Evil 9 was going to be in third person. This was also, he tried to do revisionist history here, because here in May 23rd of this year, he said that Resident Evil 9 is definitely designed as a third person game and was always the plan for it since its origins. Now, this is the leak where he said that this was going to be a third person game, right? This is what that compilation is referring to. Now, the interesting part here is that he did hear from the grapevine. So essentially he heard from other rumors that from his sources and whatnot, that the game was going to have an optional first person camera, right? He did hear that it was going to be first person, but he's like, I've heard it in the grapevine, but it's definitely third person. So he rejected that. So that just shows right there that this guy has no idea what the freak he's talking about. He has no idea how to siphon the sources that he gets, right? So this idea too that Dusk is a fantastic leaker is incredibly incorrect, right? That's incorrect. But anyways, what I wanted to show here is what he was essentially saying. He basically tried to use revisionist history and say that first person, right, that the game was actually always designed to be in first person, even though he said here on May 23rd that it was going to be in third person. He basically said on June 11th that I see a lot of people concerned a bit about Resident Evil have both first person and third person options, that now he's changing what he was saying, right? He says, but Resident Evil 9 dedicated the choice early in development. Resident Evil 8 experimented with it, but was first person game designed for that, which then added first person. So this is a clear contradiction, because this was on June 11th, by the way, and on May 23rd, he essentially said that no, this game was designed to be in third person. So again, this is a guy who's gotten several things wrong. He likes to make revisionist history to fix what he says, but he can't really get away with doing that anymore. And I basically mentioned this when he said this back on June. And so now, because as mentioned, he's backpedaled on something else. And literally 11 hours from now, he actually says, one thing I want to clarify straight up, one thing I was wrong to say back when Resident Evil Requiem was being revealed is that Leon was not a main protagonist. Leon is not a super small portion of the game like Chris was in there. He has multiple playable sections. So this is interesting. He's basically changing what he said. So it's funny that he's doing this 11 hours before you know what I mean? Like, this was a couple of hours after this whole thing about this Leon leak release, because I'm sure people were calling him out. And by the way, as I've stated, do not call this person, like, do not send hate towards this person. If you guys are thinking that, as mentioned, I don't hate this guy. I'm just stating facts here, right? So I don't want to see any of you guys in my audience going out and basically sending hate, because that's not what I'm about, right? I'm not about sending hate. I'm just basically stating the obvious, because there's obviously this misconception that people assume that Dusk is 100% right, even though right now he's backpedaling on what he said before, right? So you don't really get that from a reliable leaker, do you? That somebody's going to say, oh yeah, by the way, I was wrong about one of the biggest leaks, that this is why everybody was basically essentially saying that Leon was going to be in the game. Oh no, he's not actually the main protagonist. He's a protagonist. It's very interesting. But what I will say though is that he didn't try to do revisionist history. He actually said, I was wrong to say this. This is the first time I've actually seen Dusk say this, which is good, because this is actually the first time where Dusk can easily be called out for his fake leaks, because he's literally made a compilation of everything regarding Resident Evil 9.